Welcome back to the In Between Overs podcast. We're your host of the day's play. I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishan.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.
India and New Zealand conclude their five match T20I series in Kerala. Basically 500 runs in total the entire match. So lots of batting happened. It was a good game. It was lots of runs, as I mentioned. India did come up on top, and they obviously secured the series 4-1. Pretty convincing series win overall for Team India, and I think a pretty convincing win from a batting front, especially in this match as well. They were just too much for New Zealand. India did opt to bat first as well, so that was interesting to see. And it showed the world that, hey, whatever way they play, either batting first or batting second, they're putting up a big score and they're willing to take the game far.
I'm just wondering, what is the bigger headline? Ishan Kishan's century, or the fact that this may be the end of Sanju Samson, at least in the 11?
It's a tough pill to swallow, and it's so ironic that this happened to be in Kerala, in his home ground. It was a perfect opportunity for him to really basically, I would say, if he had a good knock here, it would have cemented his spot in the World Cup. But now he's definitely on the edge. But yeah, Ishan Kishan, though, on the front as well, continuing his red out form. He looks like he's hitting the ball out of the field every single time.
Ishan Kishan's century was really well done. His innings in his performances in the last 3 games, whenever he's played, has been unreal. I don't know how you drop him. I feel Sanju's going to be in the squad where the series started, where Sanju started as the main keeper. I think now it's going to be Ishan Kishan. And we saw that when Ishan Kishan took the gloves in the second innings when India were bowling. So it's already giving you hints that, okay, India has already changed their mind on who the frontline keeper is going to be. And it sucks for Sanju. I was really hoping he would have scored something in this game, especially with it being at home. You couldn't have asked for a better script for him to score a 50 or something at home and cement his spot, but it wasn't meant to be. And I feel like he's going to be carrying the drinks most of the World Cup.
Yeah, it is a heartbreak, especially what he's been through the last 2-3 years with, not too much clarity, mixing up his spots, and now this just before our World Cup. But let's see, Gautam Gambhir is definitely a very surprising character. He has said on multiple occasions that he will give every player a long rope. We've seen that in some cases as well, but it'll be interesting, especially in this case, where Ishan Kishan is performing very well, and you have Tilak Verma coming around the corner as well, all healthy and ready to go.
The top order looks even more scary now with Ishan Kishan playing the way he is. You literally have Ishan Kishan and Abhishek Sharma potentially going to be opening the batting. Tilak Verma coming one down, and an in-form Suryakumar Yadav at 4. That is a scary top 4.
Yeah. Let's spend a few moments actually talking about Sky. He definitely had the breakthrough
Yeah.
series that he needed. He was definitely short of runs, or I think it was, I heard a commentator who said this. He was not short of form, he was short of runs, right? So I think that definitely showed in this series. He won Player of the Series as well, so that's a big feat for him. And another for pretty solid 63 runs. Scored his half century in very quick fashion. And what you really wanted to see, especially after the Asia Cup, is an informed Sky heading into the World Cup. So to your point, it definitely seems that some of the players earlier on in the batting order for Team India are in red hot form approaching the World Cup.
Not only the top order, even the middle and lower order looks good as well. India were 60 odd in 8 overs. They went from that score to 271. They scored more than 200 runs in the final 12 overs. They scored more than about 170 runs in the final 10 overs. That is insane acceleration. And it wasn't just Ishan Kishan and Sky. Hardik Pandya joined in as well with 4 sixes in his 42 of 17. And then a quick finish by Rinku and Shivam as well. This lineup looks amazing on paper, and it looks amazing in the game as well. No matter who is able to score, if one person doesn't get you, someone else will.
And Akshar Patel still hadn't batted. So you still had a player who is as we saw in the last World Cup, coming in the top 5, he still hasn't batted yet in this lineup. So again, to your point, just goes to show the depth and power that India do really have.
Absolutely. So anything to add on New Zealand's bowling? I felt that they tried different things, but it was just one of those days where India were having it their way, and the pitch obviously was seemed true, seemed a true wicket, and was hard to get anything out of it if you were a bowler.
Yeah, each bowler going at an economy in double digits, so that obviously shows you something. And then, as we saw even in India's innings as well, the field being smaller, the pitch not doing too much, it was an uphill battle for the bowlers. So the bowlers had to be really skillful, or the batsmen had to make a mistake. And it definitely seemed like, for India's perspective, I think the pitch was doing bits here and there, but India were able to, not make any mistakes and give away their wickets.
India ended up scoring 271, so that's what New Zealand had to chase it. It already felt like game was pretty much done if India could do something in the first 6 overs. They did, they tried, but they were met by Finn Allen, who finally got a game. I didn't realize that I knew he played the BBL, but I didn't realize that he was allowed to play the BBL over international cricket over this series, and that's pretty much what happened, which is why he didn't play the other games. And I feel like he would have made a massive difference. I didn't realize that that's why he wasn't in the team. I thought he was just wasn't selected. And so he comes in and right from the get-go went hammer and tongs against the bowling attack, no matter who you were, even if your name was Bumrah. And he ended up scoring 80 off 38. And as long as he was there, it seemed like New Zealand were in with the shot. Because when he got out, New Zealand were actually ahead of the game. They were about 40 runs ahead of India when he got out in the ninth over.
Yeah, and definitely while he was batting, it did seem the pitch was too small because everything he was hitting was out of the park. He had six sixes, eight fours, striking rate over 200. Extremely great innings. But to your point, what really worked for India this series and this match was as well were those wickets. I think everyone knew a wicket was coming, and when it finally broke, India was able to chip away as it did. I think again, India's bowling performance was pretty well, pretty good as well. They were expensive. Don't get me wrong. Bumrah especially, Bumrah as well. Not performing the best, or at least not showcasing what he's capable of doing. But it did seem like at the end of the day, it was the same old India where they were able to get those wickets, and the score was a little high where the batsmen had to take risks, and because of that, India's skillful bowlers, they knew that it was risky shots were coming, so just had to be patient and put those balls in the right areas.
Yeah, the fact that New Zealand ended up scoring 225 showed that the wicket was just really good to bat on. And India were just slightly better than New Zealand's bowling. That's all it came down to. But you can also argue and say that India's batting was slightly better than New Zealand's batting. So India just slightly better in this game. The pitch obviously made it easy for both batting sides, but India just had the edge with both ball and bat. New Zealand tried, they fought till the end, and I think they can take away some good positives from the batting performance where, they still managed to score 225. It's not like they got shot out for 100 or 150. They still put up a fight, and that's good for them for the World Cup. Especially, I like the fact that they bumped Daryl Mitchell up to 5, and it seemed like it worked to a certain extent because he was able to score 26 of 12, albeit not long enough, but he was going for the runs because they had to.
Yeah, they had to as well. And also Ratan Ravindra at least getting some runs in the final game, showing some signs of form approaching the World Cup. So yeah, they had glimpses of hope as well. And even if you look a little bit down the order as well, Ish Sodhi as well, it's pretty solid 33. You know how much of a veteran he is, but he was also clobbering the ball. Very quickly, just on India's bowling lastly, I think one of the key differentials was Akshay Patel, spinner getting those 3 wickets. Obviously India not playing Kuldeep. But the spinners, I think, were able to add some pressure, especially with their run rates not really in double digits, as opposed to with the exception of Abhishek Sharma. But I think the spinners were able to consolidate a little bit and add that little extra pressure, which forced New Zealand to take a little bit extra risks and basically allow Arshdeep, for example, to get his first five for in international cricket.
The most expensive fifer ever. 5 for 51. Well, he kept coming at you. He kept coming at you, even though he was getting hit. He still believed in himself, and he deserved the fifer. He got 5 wickets. You can't take that away from him, but you can't take away the 51 runs that he gave away either. So I don't know how proud he's gonna be about it, but it's still a bag.
It's still a bag, yeah, hold the ball high, Arshdeep. Okay, almost, what, 500 runs this game. Did you have fun? Did you have fun? Is this the template now for the future of the T20 cricket?
With the way the game is going, with the amount of eyeballs that is on in the ground as well as on TV when it comes to T20, you need to keep those eyeballs engaged. And I think one of the ways to do that is by creating flat wickets where you're seeing a lot of fours and sixes, scored, big innings scored, massive sixes scored. So that seems to be the blueprint for at least games in India, and we may continue seeing that. I personally would not want to see that. I want to see more. I'd rather have a 160 plays 140 or 150, right? You got some good competition between bat and ball, some maybe some ups and downs within the innings. You don't get a lot of that if the batting team is just able to go batter after batter, just go hard without being able to consolidate even for a couple overs, right? So even we're not even getting that in these games. It's just ball after ball after ball, and at some point it does get a bit of it does get.
I could not agree more. Bring me back the low chase thrillers. Bring me back chasing 136 in the 2016 IPL finals. I need that. I need a little slowdown between the overs of 7 to 10, a little consolidation going on, right? I need the spinners to be tricky, right? I do
Yeah,
miss it when the bowling especially was a
yeah.
little more enhanced, or when the conditions or the rules were a little more favorable of the bowling. Now with the inclusion of power plays, with the inclusion of, the balls as well, it is a lot against the bowlers. And I think, to your point as well, I think you raised such a good point about test cricket. I think what we like about test cricket is that the bowlers especially have that slight edge where if the bowls are on par, if they're able to get something going, the batsmen are sort of, under pressure. And we haven't really seen that in this series, or at least in the last few series in India as well. So again, it's not something I like personally as well. I do have to accept that, it is a game. We like seeing things move fast. We like seeing big scores for the eyeballs. But I do feel, at least from my perspective, cricket is that consolidation. Cricket is that, that trickiness that comes with the pitch, that comes with the bowlers. And so I think T20 just needs a little bit of extra flavor in that. But let's see. Hopefully, we get that in the World Cup, but maybe, through this new phase of T20 cricket, different problems will arise, right? Other issues will come up, right? Maybe we'll get, other strategies coming about. So it's the evolution of the game, but I do still like a low chase thriller.
So that's the series 4-1 to India, the last series before the World Cup. How do you think both teams are going away after this series?
I think, okay, if we quickly start with India, I think India, one, I think they'll be confident going into the World Cup. But I do think, obviously, as we alluded to in the previous few minutes, there'll be some questions on the lineup, especially with Sanju Samson and Ishan Kishan. So I would definitely like to see how they navigate that. I know Bumrah was under pump today. I don't think he would be a concern because I did see some of that chatter online as well. But I definitely think Bumrah's squad, entire Team India, will be favorites going into the World Cup. Now, quickly on New Zealand, I think they've had some individuals with great performances throughout the series. I think they should take some solace into that. It was a thrashing overall, but it's great to have this visibility before a World Cup than after. So, maybe getting used to the pitches, maybe getting used to the pace of play that's expected in the World Cup. But I think, New Zealand, with obviously some of the high, Phil Allen, you saw what they did with sort of Daryl Mitchell's performance. Mitch Satner had a great performances here and there. I definitely think there's some silver linings that they'll take from this series.
Do you see Varun Chakravarti and Akshar Patel being the frontline spinners for India?
I do. I think
Yeah.
Kuldeep Yadav would definitely be number 3,
Yeah.
but I definitely think Varun with his, just being that mystery spinner, and Akshar's batting was gonna force them into sort of being the top 2, especially with Washi still being injured, right? What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on sort of the learnings for Team India and New Zealand as they approach the World Cup?
Yeah, similar feelings. I think India pretty much knows their 11, and I feel Ishan Kishan's form has forced them to make that change at the top. So probably going to see Ishan opening with Abhishek if Tilak comes back in time for the World Cup. If not, then maybe Sanju stays, but you could maybe even see Shreyas Iyer come in because Sanju got 5 chances and he hasn't done anything. But I feel they'll give him another chance if Tilak doesn't come in just yet. That's the only thing I think with the bowl from the bowling standpoint. Yes, I agree. Akshar Patel and Varun Chakravarti are going to be the front line. I do see them rotating the quicks depending on the
Okay.
pitches they play on, or maybe they play an extra spinner, especially because some of the games are in Sri Lanka as well, which is spin friendly. So we may see that. So I think the bowling they'll just keep changing it based on the wickets they play on. But I feel Akshar is going to play all the games just because of his batting ability and gives India a lengthier batting lineup. For New Zealand, I think New Zealand needs to keep pushing Daryl Mitchell up. They're doing a good job. They got him from 6 to 5. Maybe get him to 4, and maybe put Glenn Phillips to 5, because Glenn Phillips has the ability to and he used to play at 5 and 6, and that's where he made a name for himself, even in the franchise circuit. Maybe they want him to get more time in the middle, which is fair. He showed the faith. He repaid the faith by scoring some runs in the series. So they just have to figure out their batting lineup. And with the bowling, I think they had injuries here and there. They kept switching their bowling attack. So I think they're still figuring out what that 11 is going to be, but I won't be surprised if they do as the World Cup goes along, and they may still end up being super competitive and maybe even make the final four.
No, that's very fair. Do you think Bumrah's at least recent T20 form is of concern for Team India?
No, I don't think so. I think that some of the pitches hasn't been conducive to any type of bowling, no matter who you are. And so you can't fully blame him. Case in point, this game five, where even he looked toothless, and that's
Yeah.
doesn't happen all the time. So I think he'll be fine. He's a legend, he's a GOAT. He knows how to bring his A games to the big games, especially. And I think once India enters the bigger games where something's on the line, I feel he will be able to step up and put on a performance.
Yeah, similarly agree, and I did see a lot of chatter online and discussions about his performance, but I definitely think he has a lot to offer. You know, he's been part of the Mumbai Indians for so long, and they've invested so much in him. He started his name in T20 cricket, so I don't think he's going anywhere soon. So no, I'm very excited to see him in the T20 World Cup in India as well.
And that's what's coming up next. The T20 World Cup starting Feb 7th. We can't wait to bring it to you. Until then, that's another series done, dusted, and that stumps.